hello everybody, my name is Putty and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. You may have heard in the last episode I had a few microphone problems. I really apologize for busting your eardrums on that one. I know how much I love my own voice, but I didn't want it to be that loud. I've actually done a lot of fiddling with my microphone in between episodes, and it should sound a lot better this time. But I now know that I need to speak into my microphone like at a very specific point for it to be as loud as I like it to be. So I'm hoping to fix that. I'm hoping to fix my talking style, as it were, in this episode. Aside from that, there was something I forgot to mention. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, I figured it out. It was something I forgot to mention in the last episode that I haven't mentioned again this episode, and I was like, what is it? But I remember now. So I was talking to you guys about setting up the dojo again. That's actually not going to be happening as soon as I thought it would, because we have an aim from Keith, that's critical, and that is to get MAW up to 450k in the bank, which is a lot of money. It is doable, though. We're currently up to making a really good profit every month, which is really good to see. And I'm definitely think I will be able to hit that goal, but it means I'm going to have to try and not spend a ton of money. So, oh well. Tonight, big night. We have appearances. Okay. All right then. That's Twitter. Sorry, apologies for that. Yeah, so big appearances tonight. The main event of the evening is going to be it's going to be happening throughout the show, a Coastal Zone Tag Team match for the Mid-Atlantic Regional Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, as the Ring Generals will take on Notorious. Also tonight, Ernest Youngman is back, and he is slated to take on newly single Sid Collier, as well as Morris. Kamikaze is set to make his first appearance as a contracted employee. Lots to talk about, lots to do. Let's get started with the show, and we're kicking off with the opening contest in the Coastal Zone Tag Team match for the tag team titles. And it is not a good start for the tag team champions, as Miguel Rivera manages to defeat Mar Stadler by pinfall with a shot in the dark. A good opening contest to get started here at the Meccan Auditorium in the finale of the weekly event the week-long event we call Fan Festival. So a very good start there for the challengers. And we move on to a sensational match where Kamikaze begins his MAW career by having just a balls-to-the-walls match with American Elemental. They're just throwing things at each other. This is a long match where Kama gets in there, and he realizes this is his opportunity to impress. It is his opportunity to shine, and so he just throws his body to the wind. It doesn't matter what happens. He just jumps out of the ring, massive brawling on the outside, monitor to face whenever he gets the opportunity. And American Elemental has seen more of a technical side to his game recently, and he definitely tries to start with some technical holds, some technical ability, but sadly it very quickly degrades as Kama just throws those bombs at him, throwing those independent hallmarks, those just nasty head drop maneuvers. And American Elemental realizes he needs to step his game up. American Elemental realizes that he needs to go balls to the wall as well, and so he starts just using his high flying ability, because we know he's capable. We know he's a great technical wrestler. But we also know he is a fantastic high flyer. He's one hell of an athlete, and he starts to throw it too. They head up to the balcony. They tease Kama going off of the balcony, but it doesn't quite happen. Kama does take a nasty tumble down the stairs, though, as they head back down from the balcony, and in the end they head back into the ring, and American Elemental manages to pick up the victory in the end and heads to the interview area, where Sweet Tabitha asks him what he thinks of his victory, and before American Elemental can talk, Kamikaze ambushes him with a monitor, just smashes across his head. Vicious, brutal attack from Kamikaze here to leave American Elemental down and out. Bitter from Kamikaze, as I think we move into the second leg of our Coastal Zone Tag Team match here. As indeed the tag team champions get back into it. Dean Waldorf defeating Carlos Barrera with a Waldorf salad toss. I like to think Carlos Barrera impresses with some technical prowess here, but he just cannot beat Dirty Dean. Cannot beat him with that gritty, down to earth, grindy style that Dean Waldorf has. Carlos Barrera just trying to up the pace a little, trying to make it. I mean, I called him Dirty Dean, but really I think it was Carlos who was trying to make this dirty. He was trying to make this violent, but Dean didn't bite, because Dean knows if he gets into a slugfest, he's probably going to lose. So Dean just makes sure to take him down, do everything by the book, and make sure to work those holes, make sure to work that leg, and just, use the strategy. Dean knows, Dean's not in a rush. One of the hallmarks, one of the greatest things about Dean Waldorf is that he is not in a rush in his matches. He takes his time, he slowly picks apart his opponents, and he knows it doesn't matter if it takes him 5 minutes or it takes him 11, he's going to beat you. And he can take his time a little bit. He's willing to put his nose to the grindstone a little bit and say, you know what, I'm not going to beat you in 3 minutes. I'm not going to knock you out. But I tell you what, if you're still in here with me at 11 minutes, you're going to be hurting and you're going to be tapping, or I'm going to throw you around with a Waldorf salad toss. So Dean Waldorf managing to pick up the win and showing that he really is, one of the things these Coastal Zone tag team matches are showing, that a couple of guys like Dean Waldorf and Marv Stadler are actually really good singles competitors too. And you got to see a lot of Dean Waldorf tonight, I think. And Island Boy Apollo is at the interview area, and he says, last month I beat Giant Brody. It was one of the biggest wins of my career. It was finally time to put that chapter of my life behind me. But now it's time for a new chapter, and I think I shouldn't wait. I shouldn't be passive. I shouldn't sit back and wait for people to come to me. I shouldn't sit back and wait for this chapter of my life to write itself. I should be the foremost person to write it. So tonight, I wanted to announce that I'm giving people opportunities that they haven't had before, opportunities that they've been waiting for. And tonight, I'm going to announce that at the Battle of the Mid-Atlantic in September, I'm going to be Battle of the Mid-Atlantic in September and the Clash in October. Okay, my apologies, guys. I fucked that one up. Take full. My bad. Battle of the Mid-Atlantic in August and the Clash in September. I will be facing both members, respectively, of the Dynamite Express. They want to work as singles competitors, and I'll be damned if they can't do that. They are some of the greatest competitors I've ever wrestled and had the pleasure of working with in my career, and I believe in them. So they are going to both have an opportunity at my title. I'm not sure which is going to be at which yet, but in August and in September, I will wrestle both members of the former Dynamite Express. I think it's time to give some opportunities, and I'm sure more are on the way. As it is announced, returning to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling as the Confederation of the Territories Heavyweight Champion of the World, Ernest Youngman comes to the ring with just a giant World Heavyweight Championship around his waist, gets in the ring, wrestles Sid Collier in a decent match. Ernest Youngman defeats Sid Collier by submission, with his new cross-face chicken wing that he picked up apparently when he went on his journey across the territories. Picked up a few new things, and after the match, he doesn't go down to the interview area. He just picks up a microphone and says, "You miss me? It feels good to be back in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. You may have noticed I have a new clothing accessory. See, this is no ordinary belt buckle. What I am carrying around my waist is the Heavyweight Championship of the World." That's right, because just like I told you in January, I am a wrestling machine. I'm the best there's ever been. And now I can prove it. You see, I went on a journey. It was long and it was tough, but I got to see the best that this territory system has to offer. I got to see the best. And a wise man once said that there is only one championship belt in all of the wrestling world that proves that you are number one. And baby, Greg Gage found out that you can't buy the Heavyweight Championship of the World. Roderick Remus found out you can't sob story your way to the Heavyweight Championship of the World. And Ernest Youngman found out that you gotta wrestle to be the world's heavyweight champion. You gotta believe me when I say that I wrestled to become the world's heavyweight champion. And I am proud to stand here. I am proud to stand here and tell you all that I am number one. That I have the richest, the greatest prize in wrestling today. I am proud to tell you that I am the second MAW World's Heavyweight Champion. You want to talk about your Hollywood Bret Stars. You want to talk about your Nicholas Lopez. You want to talk about your Bradford Peverell. You want to talk about your Puerto Rican Powers. Now you got to talk about Ernest Youngman. Because those names I just listed, those were men. Those were athletes at the top of their game, and now you got to add to that list. You got to add to that prestigious group Ernest Youngman, the assassin of the squared circle. Because this title belt isn't just some piece of gold I like to carry around. This title belt isn't just It's one of the most expensive clothing accessories I have ever worn. This proves I'm number one. This proves I'm the best. And you know what? Guys beat me here before I left. Guys did beat me here. And that's why I'm here. Because this is the greatest territory in the business today. And if anybody is going to be the world's heavyweight champion, they belong here. So Puerto Rican powers, I know you're watching. You want your rematch? You want another shot at the big one? You gotta do it on Ernest Youngman's terms. You gotta do it in my home. You gotta do it in my house. Puerto Rican power, you want your rematch? It's gonna be in August. It's gonna be at the Battle of the Mid-Atlantic, and it's gonna be right here in the Meccan Auditorium. And if you want your rematch, you'll be there in August. And I'll beat you like I did down in Puerto Rico, in your hometown. Because I am the best. And you guys have seen it. I will work day in and day out because I love this business. And I love you guys. And it feels damn good to be back. And it feels like I am better than ever. Enjoy your main event. And you will be seeing a lot of me again. Ernest Youngman is back. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's on top of his game, and he has laid down the challenge. If Puerto Rican power wants his rematch, it's going to be right here in the Meccan Auditorium. It's going to be in August. It's going to be at the Battle of the Mid-Atlantic. Hype, 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 hype. But let's move on to our main event of the evening for the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It's 1-on-1. This to decide it. It's Notorious versus the Ring Generals, and in a decent match, the Ring Generals defeat Notorious when Dean Waldorf defeats Miguel Rivera by pinfall. With a Waldorf salad toss, the Ring Generals make defense number 1 of their Mid-Atlantic Tag Team titles. Very good match from these two. Really do live up to the hype of the show. That is the finale of Fan Festival 2018. The fans hopefully go home happy with the news that Ernest Youngman is back, Island Boy Apollo is dishing out opportunities, and the Ring Generals are some of the greatest tag team athletes in the business. I was unusually hyped for that show, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Check out the rest of the series. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you especially like the show and are feeling especially generous, link to my Patreon's in the description. If you want some creative input on the series, go ahead and check out my Twitter, which I got notified. Started this episode about, not about creative things, but about, now I remember. This actually happened last year, and I'm surprised I missed it. Almost a year ago. It was like 11 months ago in the game. We are not fighting regional battles anymore. And the reason for that is that Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling are dead. Gone. Ding dong. Now, I'm not sure how much I made this obvious in the last MAW series, but I'm pretty sure I made it pretty obvious that I hate Pittsburgh Steel. I think Pittsburgh Steel are some of the worst people in the world. I mean, it's not a real thing. It's like, it's a kayfabe thing. But one of my kayfabe things that I've had since this game comes out is that I just don't like Pittsburgh Steel at all. I actually do dislike hardcore wrestling a lot in real life, mostly, because I think most of it isn't done very well. And Pittsburgh Steel are kind of like the shitty... they're the successors of Dave, who were this like culty underground hardcore promotion that ended up doing really well. And then Pittsburgh Steel came along and were like, we're going to carry on doing it, but they did it way worse because they're just a little indie. And not only do I dislike hardcore wrestling, but I like to think that they're just mooching off of the success of Dave. So I've always had like a mini rivalry with them as MAW, especially since they're just a little bit up north. So it's funny to see them die. A lot of people seem to be dying. AAA are dead as well. Obviously, we added them to the territories before they died. All women's fed. I love that promotion. It's my favorite women's fed in the Seaverse. Sad to see them go. A lot of people seem to be dying in this edition of the game. MAW tends to die if a player isn't running it, I've found. And common theme is a lot of the people who are dying are getting taken over by SWF. So maybe it's a new killing of the territories. I mean, hell, I've said since the beginning, since I opened up TEW2016 about a year ago, that Rhode Island Pro Wrestling, SWF's dev fed, are killing the indies because they're forcing everyone to either go up in production values or suffer these penalties we've been suffering. And now SWF are coming along and buying all the indies out. So maybe SWF are legitimately trying to kill the territories. Never even thought about it like that. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy. Next episode is the Sam Keith Classic, the premier tag team tournament in American independent wrestling. We are going to be doing, like we've been doing, all year and only using in-house teams for that. So we have, I think, 5 or 6 teams. Should be a good show. I'm really looking forward to it. If you are too, let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you guys then. If I do, I'll see you guys then.